Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, Bachelor Show. The brisk London air clung to the couple as they walked along the Thames, the iconic Tower Bridge looming in the distance. It was a city built on stories, romance, betrayal, and reunions. And somehow, James and Rachael Kirkconnell found themselves in the middle of one. Despite the headlines screaming of their split just weeks prior, here they were, navigating the cobblestone streets of a city far from home, yet closer to the truth than ever before. Matt stepped off the plane first, his tall frame cutting a sharp silhouette against the Heathrow terminal's glass walls. Behind him, Rachael followed, clutching a leather travel bag that seemed to weigh heavier than its contents. Neither spoke much during the flight, the silence between them a mixture of unresolved tension and unspoken understanding. Their decision to travel together after their public breakup had puzzled even their closest friends. Closure, Matt had explained to his best friend, Tyler. We need to figure out if we're done for good, or if there's something worth fighting for. Rachael had her own reasons. The endless media scrutiny and social media comments had been overwhelming, and the idea of escaping to London, neutral territory, offered a sliver of hope. A change of scenery, she thought, might provide clarity. The city welcomed them with its unpredictable charm. The weather oscillated between drizzles and moments of golden sunlight, mirroring the couple's mood. Their first stop was the bustling borough market, where the aroma of freshly baked bread and sizzling meats created an atmosphere of comfort. "This place is amazing," Rachael said, her eyes lighting up as she sampled a piece of dark chocolate from a vendor. Matt watched her from a distance, his own thoughts clouded. She seemed happy, genuinely so, but there was a guardedness in her smile he couldn't ignore. He wondered if she felt the same about him, if she noticed the way his laughter never quite reached his eyes anymore. By the time they reached their hotel that evening, the city's energy had seeped into them. They sat across from each other in the lobby bar, a bottle of red wine between them. "Why did you really agree to come?" Matt asked, breaking the silence. Rachael hesitated, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass. "Because I don't think we're finished," she said finally. "But I also don't know if we can fix what's broken." Her honesty hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. Matt nodded slowly, his mind replaying the moments that had led them here, the fights, the misunderstandings, and the love that had once seemed unbreakable. Over the next few days, they explored London together, but not entirely together. They visited the British Museum, where Matt lost himself in the ancient artifacts, while Rachael admired the Rosetta Stone. At Hyde Park, they walked side by side, the distance between them both physical and emotional. But there were moments, fleeting and fragile, when the walls came down. At a small cafe in Notting Hill, Rachael laughed so hard at Matt's impression of their overly enthusiastic waiter that she nearly spilled her coffee. And on a foggy morning along the Thames, Matt reached for her hand instinctively as they crossed a busy street, the warmth of his touch lingering longer than either expected. Each evening, they returned to their hotel room, separate beds but shared conversations. They talked about everything and nothing: childhood memories, favorite books, dreams they hadn't dared share before. Slowly, the pieces of their relationship began to resurface, like a puzzle they weren't sure they wanted to finish. One evening, after a particularly emotional day visiting the Tower of London, they found themselves at a cozy pub tucked away in a quiet alley. The crackling fireplace and dim lighting created an atmosphere that invited vulnerability. "Do you ever think about the night we met?" Rachael asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Matt smiled wistfully. "All the time. You were wearing that red dress, the one you swore you'd never wear again because someone spilled wine on it." She laughed softly. "And you were so nervous you couldn't stop fidgeting with your tie." "I wasn't nervous," Matt countered, his grin betraying him. You were, and it was adorable, she teased, her smile fading as she added, I miss that version of us. Her words hit Matt like a freight train. He reached for her hand, his fingers trembling. I miss it too, he admitted, but I don't know how to get back there. The vulnerability in his voice broke something in Rachel. Maybe we're not supposed to go back, she said. Maybe we need to figure out who we are now, and if that version of us can still make this work. The following day, they took a train to the countryside, escaping the city's chaos. The rolling hills and quaint villages offered a sense of peace neither had felt in months. As they hiked through the Cotswolds, something shifted. Do you regret anything? Rachel asked as they stopped to admire the view from a hilltop. Matt took a deep breath, the crisp air filling his lungs. I regret not fighting harder for us when things got tough. I let the noise, the media, the opinions, get in the way of what really mattered. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. I regret not speaking up when I should have. I let my fear of losing you stop me from being honest about what I needed. For the first time in what felt like forever, they weren't just talking. They were listening. And in that moment, amid the sprawling English countryside, they found a sliver of hope. As their trip came to an end, the couple found themselves back where they started, walking along the Thames, the Tower Bridge glowing softly in the evening light. But something had changed. So what now? Matt asked, his voice tinged with both hope and hesitation. Rachel smiled, her hand slipping into his. Now we take it one step at a time. No guarantees, no expectations, just us. He squeezed her hand, a sense of relief washing over him. I think I can live with that. As they stood there, the city buzzing around them, Matt and Rachel realized that their story wasn't over. It was just beginning a new chapter, one filled with uncertainty but also possibility. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough. Months later, the headlines would speculate about their status. Were they back together, or had they finally called it quits? But for Matt and Rachel, the answer didn't matter. What mattered was that they had found their way back to themselves, and in doing so, had rediscovered the love that had brought them together in the first place. London had given them more than closure. It had given them clarity. And as they boarded the plane back to the States, hand in hand, they knew they were ready to face whatever came next, together.